Do you have an Aunt Carol in your life? Aunt Carol is the one who believes that the coronavirus vaccine contains a tracking chip so Bill Gates can monitor everything that you do, and that wearing masks actually cause you to get super COVID because the inside of the masks is lined with the virus. Do you have an Aunt Carol in your life? Maybe you've tried to talk to them about getting the vaccine or coronavirus preventative measures, and it hasn't been very effective. You may feel like you need to give up on Aunt Carol. But now that we have the vaccine, it's more important than ever. If we want to return to a normal life, we need to get Aunt Carol vaccinated. This may feel like an impossible task, and I'm here to tell you that it is not. You can use behavior change interventions that we use in medicine to help convince Aunt Carol to get her vaccine. Back in December, actually the day I got my first coronavirus vaccination, on December 18th, I did a podcast with fellow comedians Ian Harris and Ty Barnett of the Critical and Thinking podcast. And during that podcast, I discussed using behavior change techniques to help convince Aunt Carol's. And while this podcast is about an hour and a half long, and you can watch the entire thing by clicking the video in the description, I wanted to make a supercut to talk about how you can use these techniques that we use in medicine for things like smoking cessation to actually help Aunt Carol get vaccinated.
Medicine is not political. I know a lot of people say that. It is a global community.
Yes.
It encompasses people from around the world, many different languages, cultures, and political backdrop and ideological backgrounds. It doesn't matter when it comes to science. Like, science is apolitical. And when I give talks and when I try to educate folks, there is nothing political about it. It doesn't matter. Like, my political beliefs don't change evidence-based medicine. There isn't a political shift to randomized control trials. It isn't there. And we, in the educational community, are not fighting bad people. We're fighting people with misinformation and bad ideas.
Right.
And there's a big difference between that, because trying to change someone that you demonize or someone that is a bad person, you don't feel compelled, you don't feel compassion to take the time to try to help. You have to remember, you're never fighting bad people. You're fighting people that have been misled. Even if you are totally healthy and you say, well, the odds are in my favor, I'm going to be fine if I get COVID. The people that individual interacts with, it can be a family member that is immunocompromised or elderly, but not just that. Even if they stay away from those folks that are immunocompromised or elderly, and let's say they go to the grocery store and by some chance happen to infect somebody that takes care of someone that's immunocompromised or elderly. Where we see death in this disease in massive numbers is in long-term acute care facilities, nursing homes, and prisons. And those places have been under lockdown since the beginning of this pandemic. So how is the virus getting in? It's getting in because staff, even if you don't have symptoms, you can still spread this virus to other people. By not getting the vaccine and saying, well, if I get COVID, I'll just deal with it, you are essentially disrespecting every single person that has been in lockdown since March. You are saying your life doesn't matter to me. We will be losing this war against misinformation. We will be losing this war against people who promote megadoses of vitamin C and goji berries and vitamin D, because those folks have influence.
Right.
All right? They have a lot of influence. They have people who follow them. But that doesn't mean we need to give up, or that we need to shrug our shoulders, or that we need to give up on those people that they're following. Because I believe every single person, even if you can't get through to them with the correct evidence-based information, that person has someone they will listen to. And all you need to do is get to that person.
Absolutely.
You need to get to that person that they will listen to. You don't necessarily have to change that family member who says, I'm never going to get the vaccine. Nothing you can say can fix it. But if you change the mind of a person they listen to, you can change. A lot of misinformation comes from a lack of good, understandable information.
Right.
And it's our duty to help make it easy to understand. And don't just say, I'm going to leave it for you here, like I'm going to fill your dog bowl and have you read it when you got time. Sometimes it's a good idea to sit down with people and essentially metaphorically hold their hand and say, let's talk about this together. Let's have a conversation. Let me hear your viewpoint. In my work, one thing I have to deal with a lot is smoking cessation. So when I have patients that smoke, it is my duty to tell them not to smoke. But I don't tell them, don't smoke. They know that smoking is harmful. What I do is you do something called a behavior change modification assessment. You say, instead of saying, hey, you shouldn't be smoking, don't you know that's harmful? Or you have immediately cut that person out from them listening to you. What you ask instead is, you ask about smoking if they're smoking, and they say, do you feel like you're ready to quit now? Or do you feel like you're ready to quit soon? If someone says, hell no, I like my 1 pack a day, never gonna quit, this is what gets me through my life, you move on. Or you say, I'm gonna ask you about that on your next appointment too. To say, are you still smoking and do you feel like you're ready to quit now or soon? And when you do it in that way, you're so much more approachable. And they know that if they do change their mind, or if they want to quit, that they can come to you, that you're a trusted source, that you did not cut them out, that you did not think of them as a lesser person because they're smoking. When someone says, I have sex with multiple people and I don't use condoms, the wrong answer is to say, don't you know you're spreading disease? Don't you know what you do is dangerous? That you have immediately cut that person off. You have immediately said, I no longer feel accountable for your life because I consider what you do to be dangerous. The better way to approach it is to ask open-ended questions and then work with people. Find where you have common ground. This isn't just in medicine. Find that common ground. We're not always dealing with extremes. Most of the people are in the middle. Most of the people are on the fence, okay? Yeah. We have the ability to put them on the right side, the side of evidence-based medicine, the side of science. Absolutely. We have that ability. Most people are in the middle. We can do it.